The Motor Museum of Western Australia is located in Whiteman Park, a 30-minute drive northeast of Perth CBD. The museum opened its doors on December the 21st, 1994. Its vehicles range from the early 1900s to the present day, providing an excellent visual timeline of our motoring heritage. This old British car, an Austin I believe, was originally located on the top of a pole at the western entrance to Whiteman Park. It was temporarily relocated here pending the completion of the roadworks at the western end of the park. Quite a few changes have been made over the 2 weeks it took to shoot this video. The entrance is being prepared for a new sign to be placed over the front door. Two weeks later, the new sign has been installed. Hello, how are you? Just inside the entrance is a gleaming 1970 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. They're always noted for their incredible paintwork. Here, its mirror-like finish is shown to perfection. The paintwork is so incredible that the Rolls-Royce badge on the boot lid looks like it's standing upright instead of lying flush with the bodywork. This is a dynamic museum. This Datsun 1300 utility is about to be relocated and replaced with a Karmann Ghia. Here it is, a 1958 Karmann Ghia. They were made by Volkswagen. That little Datsun utility was actually parked outside of the museum, waiting to be taken home. Some small stationary motors are behind the roller. The kids also haven't been forgotten. A large collection of children's cars are on the wall. A red and white standard Vanguard estate car, what we would call a station wagon, is parked alongside of a 1975 Toyota Crown, followed by a 1964 Checker taxi. The flickering you see in the video is from the large ceiling fans helping to make a hot day bearable. Contrary to the AP4 licence plate, this actually is a 1965 Chrysler Valiant AP6 powered by a V8 engine. This is a rare 1963 Studebaker GT Hawk. It was actually built in Australia. The 1972 Toyota Corolla. These went on to become the most popular car in the world. The 1964 Toyota 700 Publica. It is powered by a 700cc engine, claimed to have a service life of at least 100,000 kilometres. The motorcycles haven't been forgotten, they are lined up on the northern wall. The body of this old ambulance has been built on a 1917 Ford Model T and equipped for ambulance work. This patient should survive, but the prognosis for his colleague lying alongside of him is not so positive. Madam is driving a 1903 Oldsmobile Model R. You notice there's no steering wheel it has tiller steering. Madam has a tendency to lose her head in the presence of such technological masterpieces, so she has had her name tattooed on her neck for ready retrieval. Western Australia's first licence plate was issued to a Dr. Birmingham who lived in Fremantle. This beautiful vehicle is a 1905 de Dion Bouton. It was made in France. This 1914 Detroit electric car was greatly favoured by the ladies, who desired simple, clean, quiet, sedate and luxurious personal transport. Their heavy lead-acid batteries restricted them to running on smooth pavement. You have the 1925 20 horsepower Rolls-Royce. They gained over the years the reputation of building the finest cars in the world. This car has a body built by Windovers, one of the many coach builders to Rolls-Royce who only produced running chassis at the time. The 1923 Stanley Steamer, Model 470 steam car. This is one of the only vehicles that was made that was powered by a steam engine. It had a boiler under the hood which powered the steam engine. Alongside of the boiler is a sight glass to check the water level in the boiler, and just above it a twin chime steam whistle. We have the engine from a 1921 Stanley steamer under glass for us. It appears to be a twin-cylinder, simple expansion steam engine, inspired by the steam locomotives of the day. This diorama gives us a feeling of what motoring is like in the goldfields, including the red dust. This is a model of a Model T. A 7 horsepower Austin, truly the people's car of the day. A 1924 Vauxhall Tourer. It was capable of speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour with excellent brakes and handling to match. It is powered by a 4.2 litre 4-cylinder motor. Morris, in 1926, built this bullnose Cowley. Here is a real classic, a 1912 Ford Model T. In 1928, Chevrolet built this AB Tourer. It has a 4-cylinder engine, 3-speed gearbox and cable brakes. This is a 1929 Packard 633 Roadster. It has a 5.7 litre straight 8 engine and a 3-speed crash gearbox. The 1931 Cadillac Series 370 Dual Cab Phaeton. This magnificent vehicle, which drives as well as it looks, is fitted with a 5.86 litre V12 motor and a 3-speed gearbox. Of special note is the extra windscreen inside the saloon for the added comfort of the rear seat passengers. We take a final look back at these magnificent cars before continuing our walk. We are approaching the RAC Intellibus, a driverless vehicle which made its way here for a pride of place at the end of its trial in South Perth. the 1923 Shelfolk and Drury Freighter. It was used in a multitude of roles, including general freight, rubbish collection, railway platform work, and even carried passengers as a roadside going tram. It was considered very easy to operate and was more economical than conventional trucks. Cliff Byfield, a retired engineer who lived in Bayswater, a suburb of Perth in Western Australia, designed and hand-built this vehicle around the components from an XJS V12 Jaguar. He built it in an open-air backyard workshop. He was an amazing 82 years old when he completed this car in 2005. Cliff Byfield also built this car, a 1947 Byfield Riley Custom Tourer. The car has 4 seats. 2 are at the front and there's 2 in the dicky seat at the rear. The open-air passengers at the back had their own windscreen. Cliff made the 1930 style aluminium body with an English wheel shaped over sandbags. Cliff was 93 years old when he completed this car. This 1951 Byfield Jaguar was built by Cliff based on a Mark V Jaguar chassis. He built it from a wreck for his wife so that she could drive something totally different. Seats and dashboard and steering wheel were handcrafted and then painted in his own shades of green. The 1935 Packard 120 convertible. This is called the car of the 12 firsts. Packard bought the 12 top cars from their competitors, disassembled each one, and using what they found, designed and built this car. In 1927, the Chrysler Company commissioned aviator Orville Wright to build the wind tunnel. The 1934 DeSoto Airflow is the result. Although it was very innovative, it failed because people didn't like it and therefore didn't buy it. Parked alongside of it is the 1939 DeSoto 2-door S6 Business Coupe. It is powered by Chrysler, a 6-cylinder 230 cubic inch engine. The 1934 Studebaker Dictator. This one was entered regularly in the Variety Club Bash events. This is a 1954 Kaiser Manhattan, one of only 4,109 built that year. one of America's all-time great vehicles, the Lincoln Continental. This car was built in 1948. It has a flat-top V12 engine with a 3-speed manual with overdrive in second and third. It is the epitome of luxury and opulence, featuring power windows and hood, push-button Salsigi radio and spring-loaded push-button door entry. Later models were chosen by more than one President of the United States as his personal vehicle. The Governor of Western Australia naturally uses a Rolls-Royce. The Rolls-Royce engine on the stand has been rotated around to make room for a 1924 Bentley 3-litre Blue Label. This is a racing car, much larger than the Bugatti which dominated racing to that time. It or Bugatti called it the fastest lorry in the world, which is a tongue-in-the-cheek compliment. It is parked alongside of a 1948 Bentley. The Bentley is regarded as one step down from the Rolls-Royce, having all the refinement of a roller but less pretentious. The 1976 Triumph Stag. This two-door convertible British sports car is powered by a 3-litre V8 engine. Parked alongside of it is the Triumph TR3 sports car. This is powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder motor. The 1946 Ford V8 Deluxe sedan. We are now walking from the Brockwell Hall across the Ricciardo Hall where the muscle cars await. What an appropriate Christmas tree for a motor museum. This is Daniel Ricciardo's 2014 Red Bull RB10. It was designed for the 2014 F1 season. Its engine is a Renault Energy F1 1.6 litre V6 with a turbocharger driving a semi-automatic transmission. The car weighs 691 kilograms. Here is the car which kick-started Daniel's career, his go-kart. We now move into the Australian muscle cars. The 1973 Ford Falcon XA351 GT. This is a rare and significant vehicle. Only 250 were ever built. The engine, a 351 Cleveland, received quite a few modifications to make it raceworthy. We have three cars in a row: the 1977 Holden GTS, followed by the 1970 Holden HG Monaro GTS 350, and then we have the 1971 Valiant Charger RT. The 1986 HDT VL Group A. This was built in partnership with Holden and HDT Special Vehicles. The 1978 Ford Falcon 302 Cobra. This car is thought by many enthusiasts to be one of Ford's finest creations. The Camaro was Chevrolet's answer to Ford's very successful Mustang. This one was built in 1968. A great rivalry began in 1967 between the Chevy Camaro and the highly successful Ford Mustang. It continued on in 1970 by the 302 Boss Mustang. I count myself exceedingly fortunate to have started my journey into the motoring world in the latter part of the 1960s, at the advent of the Australian muscle cars. We now go back in time to about 1968. We are at the Oran Park Raceway in Sydney, New South Wales. We joined the battle as Ian Gagan and his white Mustang, carrying number 1, does battle with Storm Norman, that's Norm Beachy, in his Chevy Camaro. In those days, if it had an engine and wheels, they would race it. We also witnessed Cortinas and Aglias, Porsches and Minis, and many others all in together racing the muscle cars. By the end of the race, the smaller, lower powered cars had been lapped by the big boys. In those days, having a blow-on engine did not mean I had a turbocharger fitted. It means that I've just blown up my engine and dumped all of my sump oil on the roadway behind me, in the process generating a great deal of excitement for the race cars behind me. We have another blow-on engine, but not so much oil on the road this time. Over the course of the day, quite a few races took place with varying types of vehicles. At the end of the main race, Ingagen won, then does a victory lap in his Mustang before traversing the circuit with his trophy in a new XT Ford Fairmont. The muscle cars have enjoyed their moment on the sun and have now retired to the Motor Museum to regale each other with tales of past glory. This 1961 Facel Vega HK500 was famous in its day as it could lay claim to being as fast as a Ferrari and as expensive as a Rolls-Royce. This is a French Grand Tourer powered by a Chrysler V8. A 1965 Chrysler Newport. For Australia, truly a larger vehicle. Parked alongside of it is a 1973 Holden GTS Monaro, then a 1971 Chrysler Valiant Pacer. And most road testers of the day were full of praise for it. This little mini sports car was built up out of a damaged minivan by an enthusiast. A 1995 Nissan R33 Skyline GT. This is powered by a 2.6 litre double overhead camshaft turbocharged 6-cylinder engine at the front, driving the rear wheels through a 5-speed gearbox. A 1953 MG TD. This car, painted in the Lotus livery, is a 1964 Ford Cortina Mark I GT. That green Holden Sandman, hiding behind the Cortina GT, will soon be moved to make way for a Toyota MR2 sports car. This Morgan replica child's car was built by Ray Tilbrook. This little car is fitted with a 50cc engine and can easily be driven by a child. That green Holden Sandman that we get glimpses of has now been moved and replaced with a Toyota MR2. It is here courtesy of a recent winner of the Eurovision contest. This is Mickey Thompson's Mark I Dragster. In front of this 1984 Mazda RX-7 is a motor which has been disassembled, showing us what the interior of a rotary engine looks like. This 1976 Cosworth Escort Mark II has a 2-litre Cosworth engine. This is the 1981 Vescanda C1 racing car. It's a one-off, designed and built in Adelaide in 1985 to CAM's Group A sports car specifications. It's powered by a Chevy 350 motor of 6 litres, producing 650 brake horsepower. It is driving a 5-speed Hewland transmission. This is a 1978 Holden Torana A9X. It's a clone of the car that the late Peter Brock, with his co-driver Jim Richards, drove to victory in the 1978 Bathurst 1000 km race at Mount Panorama. Competing against the mighty Ford Falcons, the smaller and lighter Toranas proved far more nimble and much quicker on the demanding mountain circuit. We have a 1998 Subaru Impreza WRX, a car which enthusiasts regard as the Holy Grail, followed by a Nissan R34 Skyline GTR-V. This one is from the year 2000. The 1953 Jaguar XK120. This two-seater had a top speed of 125 miles an hour, that's 210 kilometres an hour. For 1953, that was really fast. The next in line is one of the world's great motor cars, the 1961 Chevrolet Corvette C1. Those taillights we saw earlier belong to the concept car by BMW. It is a petrol-electric hybrid having two motors. It has an electric motor at the front, driving the front wheels, and a petrol engine at the back, driving the rear wheels. It has incredible acceleration, but at the cost of battery life. At maximum generated power, it can reach 250 kilometres an hour, but unfortunately, the battery exhausts itself in 30 kilometres. By contrast, in comfort mode, it has a range of 500 kilometres. The 1963 Morris Mini Cooper. These Cooper models were raced around the world as race and rally cars, and for a while were completely unbeatable. This is a 1988 Gio Catalog Group B. Only 15 of these were made from 1986 to 1998 by a small factory in Queensland. It's an Aussie sports car using the shape of an Alfa Romeo Sprint. It is a mid-mounted 5-litre Walkinshaw spec Holden Commodore V8 Group A engine and can do 257 kilometres per hour. The 1960 Austin Healey. This 1975 Holden Sandman has just been relocated here. This is a 1932 Ford Roadster. It has become one of the most popular cars to be modified into hot rods. The 1973 Holden GTR Torana. The 1974 Leyland P76 Force 7V. This had a two-door body a V8 alloy engine of 4.4 litres capacity, driving a 3-speed automatic transmission. To bring the collection up to date, we have a 2022 McLaren 720S. Only 3 of these were made following the Landmark 1-2 finish at the Italian GP in 2021. This is named the Daniel Ricciardo edition after Daniel won the race. The car has a 4-litre turbocharged V8 engine. We take a final look at the Ricciardo Hall before making our way back to the Brockwell Hall to view the old Holdens and Fords. We are now leaving the Ricciardo Hall and walking back across to the Brockwell Hall. This is where the main entrance is. Children of all ages have not been forgotten. We have now walked back to the Brockwell Hall to have a look at our final exhibit, the old Holdens and Fords. Right alongside of the steps is a 1953 Ford Anglia. After we pass our Anglia, we then go by a 1960 Ford Falcon, a 1972 Ford Capri, then we find Red Dog sitting on his 1968 Ford Falcon XT utility, followed by a further 1989 Ford Capri, before we finish with our last vehicle. The last car in this line is a pretty little thing, the 1958 Ford Prefect. On the opposite side, we have the old Holdens. From 1953, we have 2 FJs. Then we come across a 1963 Holden. We have a 1965 HR X2, a 1970 Premier, and we finish off with a Holden Gemini van from 1981. At the back wall, we have a simulated workshop with a 1958 Lloyd Hartnett parked at the Bowser. These were assembled in Queensland, imported from Germany and fitted with the same 600cc air-cooled engine which Honda used in their first motorcycle. Not too many would realise the significance of a surface van having Commonwealth of Australia government plates. We've got some pollies going for a paddle. This solar car was built by the Murdoch University and Leaving Senior High School for the 2007 World Solar Challenge car. To conclude our tour of the Motor Museum of Western Australia, Brum is located at the exit door. To bid us farewell.